Well, how you doing, Kelly? Thanks for joining
I'm
us.
doing great.
Tucson.
I'm doing great. Thank you.
I know you guys have played here in Tucson quite a few times over the past 15 years, but we were just talking off air. I met you 15 years ago when you came down and did a charity concert for one of the local Tucson charities that your father was involved with at the time.
Yeah, that's right. My father lives in Tucson.
So you've been here quite a few times, probably even more than just with the band, just socially to
A
visit
couple, a
family.
couple more, a couple more. Yeah, yeah.
So before we get to the show, we know that's going to be Monday, April 3rd at the Linda Ronstadt Music Hall, formerly the Tucson Music Hall. Tickets are available right now. You can get them at klpx.com. But I also understand that this is setting up to be the final Foreigner tour.
That is correct. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the official start is the Live Nation Package Tour, which starts July 6th in Atlanta. But we're seeing all of this as all part of the same thing, and we'll be doing this probably for a year, probably 2 years,
Okay.
upwards of 2 years, because it takes time to get everywhere, you know?
Oh, absolutely. So into 2024.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, that Live Nation tour, is that with Loverboy?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that
It
should be a
is.
fun show. But the show in Tucson, it's just you guys, right?
I believe it. So it's not the tour with Loverboy.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen anything about Loverboy on this tour.
Right.
So, tell us, you've been in the band since 2005.
Right.
Been in quite a long time now. It's man, time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
How does it feel, at this point to kind of be putting a bow on everything after all this time?
Well, that's kind of a good way to put it, as opposed to throwing it in the trash. I'm sorry. I kill myself sometimes. Yeah, because one of my things that I was important to me is that I not be out there doing these songs that I shouldn't really be doing anymore because I can't do them anymore. I want to do these songs justice and deliver them strong and vibrant, and then quit while we're ahead like that. I've seen far too many people who are, for probably many different reasons, still out there when maybe they shouldn't be. And I guess everyone has their own view of their own vanity, whether it's visually or instrumentally or vocally, and I just I think that we're really at a peak right now. It's getting harder and harder to do this really difficult, challenging, but wonderful catalog of songs every year, and I just want to do them right, and I don't want to start having to do less of them right.
Go out on top.
Yeah.
Leave them with the good taste in their mouth.
Yeah. Like you said, put a bow on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Kelly, we were approached a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, about doing this contest that we're going to talk about. But we were approached 3 years ago. You guys were going to play here, and then the world took a big pause.
Right.
And so we announced this on the radio station, and we're doing this contest where we're asking local junior and senior high school choirs to do any Foreigner song, upload it at klpx.com.
Right.
And then for a couple weeks after that, we're going to have the listeners and the family members and the friends in the schools vote on the school band the school choir that they believe should back up Foreigner during your hit, I Want to Know What Love Is. And I know you guys had done this. We were going to do this back in 2020. Obviously, now we're doing it a couple years later because now unpaused.
Right.
Where did this idea gel from?
Well, we've been working with the Grammy Foundation for over a decade, maybe even 15 years. And what the actual idea is to raise awareness about the lack of funding for school music programs and the arts programs, really, basically. That's one of the first things to go when they're talking about cutting budgets and so on. And I'm a product of public schools, and I was in music class when I was in school, and it's kind of a fun way for us to kind of give back a little bit, and it's really gives another dimension to the song and to the evening, and we love to see the looks on these kids' faces when they're up there in front of, probably for the first time, in front of thousands of people, and we get notes and emails and texts from choir directors and parents and all this stuff about how it's affected their kids, which is really great. So it's a little way of giving back, because me and Jeff especially remember our public school music experience.
It's amazing too, because besides that, the band is also donating $500 to the school's choir program, which is very generous of the band as well. You guys are really putting your money where your mouth is on this as well.
Well, that's the whole point, is that they usually need funding. So we figured as part of this, we can do that donation and raise awareness, and give kids a chance to sing on stage with a mildly popular band. And wow, what a win overall for everybody.
So, how long have you been doing it? Obviously, I don't count the couple of years that we were on this big pause, but how long prior to the big pause?
We've been doing it. We've been doing this for years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we had to stop last year because we had so many COVID protocols in place just to be able to keep touring, that we couldn't have a bunch of teenagers coming on stage with us, and because different people can get COVID and can get sick, and we can still continue on with touring. But if I get sick and I can't sing, then everybody's out of a job and people have paid for tickets, and I just was really worried about that. So we had to put that on pause, and I think we're getting to a point where we can turn that back on a little bit.
Do you have any? Have you had any high school bands across the country, across the world, that you've done this with, high school choirs, that afterwards you went, we should get them a deal or something? Any experiences like that?
Well, it's very difficult for me to actually hear the choir when I'm on stage, because I have a set of specially molded headphones that go inside of my ears, which block out any external sound. And these kids are singing on an open stage right near the drummer, so I can't have their mix going into my mix, my headphones, because I already have an extremely loud open lead vocal mic, which already causes chaos in my mix with high end and civil sounds and all that kind of stuff, because I really sing right up on the microphone live as if I'm in the studio. We have really great sound people and I get a really great sound, but that means my mic is really, really open. So anything on stage I'm going to hear, but it's still a little tough to hear voices singing over the drums.
So for anybody who hasn't seen Foreigner, maybe they've never seen him ever, or maybe they haven't seen him in about 20 years or so, what can they expect from Foreigner in 2023?
I think that we have been diligent and obsessed, you might say, with delivering these songs in the way they deserve to be delivered, not only for the songs but for fans. I think we really understand and know what the Foreigner sound is, the Foreigner vibe is, and so I think that the songs really come across really, really well, because this is really about this catalog of songs, these 16 top 30 hits that any singer would kill to be able to sing this catalog. A lot of bands have one or two songs that are well known that they play at the end of their show, that were hits for them, and every song we play is a known song, and that's really amazing. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, yeah, you guys got a tremendous catalog. So, growing up, said you went to public school, you've always wanted to be a musician, and of course, your history with Hurricane and all that. So, when you were offered the position as lead singer of Foreigner, was there one song that you remember going back to your youth from Foreigner that you were like, I am stoked to be able to sing this song? Like, did you have a favorite Foreigner song, or maybe a favorite couple Foreigner songs that just?
Well, the thing for me is that I'm not a favorites type of person. The concept of favorites is interesting to me, because I choose to enjoy things individually for what they are,
Okay.
like food or cinema or whatever. And I'm graced with this unbelievable catalog of songs, which I compare to a bowl of beautifully ripe fruit. And one day I'm in the mood for a peach, and one day I'm in the mood for a pear, and I've got great choices there. So and even every night when we play, one song may pop out as really exceptional that night, and another song will on another night, for a myriad of reasons, for the variables in the venue, like whether it's indoor, outdoor, nighttime, daytime, hot, cold. Do I hear especially well because the stage is made of wood, or all those things can change how you interpret the song, even though you're doing a similar set list of songs every night. So I was aware of the catalog. I didn't really know a lot of what was on Mr. Moonlight, but everything before that, I was aware of. So I knew that it was a great catalog, and that was really what made me say yes. Really yes, yes, yes.
And now you've been with the band since what, 2005?
Yeah, I'm coming on 20 years, close to. Yeah.
Man, time flies, Kelly, when you're having
Yeah.
fun. That's for sure. Well, and you've actually, and you really have become the face of the band. I've seen you on television commercials. I've seen you, how does it feel to become the face of the band?
Well, Mick and I have always been very simpatico. Even from the first day, we saw things the same way. We thought things should be done the same way. It's that hasn't always happened with me in groups that I've been in, but he is such an old school stage border, kind of performer, like Damn the Torpedoes and The Show Must Go On. He's always been that revved up kind of guy. And we were really similar on that. We're always on the same page that way, which may seem unusual if you thought about, the past in this band. But I think being the lead singer means a lot of times are the one that's vocally communicating with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the case here, is that I spend a lot of my time vocally communicating. So it makes sense that if words are going to be used, I'm going to be doing that a lot, and but Mick and I still talk and share opinions about all the stuff that goes on. So he's definitely the visionary of this band. He's the one that really makes the big decisions about what goes on and how it happens. And the only place we ever have a disagreement, which is it's not an unfriendly disagreement. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're recording a song and I want to sing a line this way, and he'll go, well, why don't you try it this way? And I'll go, well, I'm the singer, let me sing it this way. He goes, he'll say something like, well, why don't we try it both ways, and then we'll listen to it and we'll know which one is better. And that's usually the case.
Well, and that's the way it should be. It's your band, and it's a collaborative effort and stuff like that. So obviously, we're doing the contest, which we just discussed, and this is your final farewell tour, wrapping and putting a nice bow on it.
Mm-hmm.
What does Kelly Hansen have planned? Do you have any plans, or are you just focusing on the next year and a half?
Well, that is the case. I have a lot to do before this winds up, but I just got married over 2 years ago, and I look forward to spending time with my wife and family, and making plans for what is the next step in our future. Because I have other interests, I want to do other things. I have not yet decided what musical things I might be interested in or doing. But I definitely have a life focus in front of me first, because I've been doing this for 18, almost 19 years, every year for 9 months a year, not having much of a home life, and there comes a point in time where you say, listen, I want to just have a life. And when we had COVID, I saw the seasons change for the first time at my house, and I'd never experienced that before, and it kind of makes you think about things.
I talked to a lot of musicians over COVID, and a lot of them, were telling me very similar stories. They got a little antsy because they weren't used to being home. Their life is the road,
Right.
and especially with the way the music business has changed since the beginning of the century. So you have to rely on the road sometimes for financial, compared to the old days when it was all about CDs and LPs,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's. But they also said, yeah, I'm getting to watch my grandkids or my kids or my family grow up, and it's almost, one of the musicians told me that being on the road is almost like being in the military, in the way that you're gone for so long and then you come home in short spurts.
That is true. And it depends on the makeup of a person too. Some people can't sit still, and being on the road is really good for them because it's a constantly moving, churning machine. I really enjoyed having quiet time to myself, and because I'm around cacophony and people and loud music like every day, all day, and it's a omnipresent thing. And not that I don't enjoy that, but it's nice to have the counterbalance to that.
what do you like to do besides music? I mean, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. Is there a hobby that you have that you want to explore more once it's all
I
done?
I
Or
uh, I'm a I'm a I'm a motorcycle rider, and I like to repair and modify and build that kind of thing. And over the years, I've been a car guy, but when I went on the road, I had to be less of a car guy. I had to just get a cool car that did everything I needed. When I got home from the road, I needed a dependable thing that I could get in, would start up and go. Before that, I had like an old 911 Porsche, and when you don't take care of those things, when you're on the road, they get
Mhm.
angry. They don't like it that you're not driving them every day and touching them up and tuning them and things like that. So the car stuff had to kind of go on the back burner, and I kind of went a little bit more in the motorcycle direction. And but I love to cook. I was on that Food Network show,
I heard
Chopped,
about
and
that. You won
yeah,
you won the prize.
I won. Yeah, I won. And during COVID, I cooked every single day. I went to in a year and 4 months. We went to sushi once, and I ordered in a curry once. Every other meal was cooked at home.
What got you into cooking?
What's that? Oh,
What
what got
got
me
you
into
into
it?
cooking?
I think a lot of it had to do with I kind of cooked before, but then we started getting on the road, and it became very frustrating. And I'd had experiences with this early on, even far back as hurricane, where you're in the mood for something, or you see a picture of something and you want to order something, and when it comes, it never looks the way it is on the menu. Uh, you can tell when someone doesn't care or doesn't love. And right after COVID, when finally went back on the road, everything, if you ordered room service, they would charge you the same as before, but it would come to you in a paper bag or in styrofoam with plastic forks. And may not seem like a big deal to people until you're doing that every day for almost the whole year.
Hmm.
I didn't like that, but even before that, it was like that for me on the road. Really disappointing meals here and there, but it's gotten worse. Definitely gotten worse now. But that made me want to go home and make stuff and get exactly what I wanted, exactly the taste I was looking for. I remember one day I spent 5 days in my least favorite food state, which I won't name here. And I remember that I got home, I put my luggage down, I got right in my car, went to the grocery store and bought food and came home and spent the rest of the day cooking. I put on like orchestral music and just cooked and made food that I wanted, where I knew where the ingredients came from, and I knew what was in the meal, and I was putting the love in there, and that means a lot to me, at least.
How did you get involved with the TV show?
Oh, there was a couple of connections that my management had, and I had been talking to them about trying to get myself on a couple of shows, and that opportunity showed up, and it was really great because if you've seen the show Chopped, you've seen people in that kitchen sweating like mad, and we were really lucky because it was February in New York City, uh, and they have a place where they're doing the filming was right near the Chelsea Market, and it was bitterly cold, but inside the building something was wrong with the heaters, so it wasn't boiling hot in there, and it was really great because it was very comfortable to cook, and so we were kind of lucked out in that way. It was nice. And when you're there, if you win, it's a 16-hour day because there's interviews before and after and all, and the time between each segment is like a long segment, but the segments that are on are real. There's no joke. It's all exactly like they say. It's like you get those ingredients, you get the pantry, you have that much time, and that's it. And wow, it's rough. It's really rough.
Wow, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
I've heard that sometimes when you show up in a town now with on the tour that you'll actually kind of meet with the catering staff or the chef there and try to kind of
Yeah,
kick them a
sometimes.
recipe.
Well, no, I do that by the time I get there, they've made everything. But sometimes on a day off, I'll get to go visit a restaurant, or I have several chef friends. I'll get to go visit their restaurants or places that they recommend. But now what I've done is I've installed an induction cooker on the tour bus so that I can cook on the bus. This way, I don't have to pay $50, and I'm not kidding, $50 for an egg breakfast in a styrofoam cup or box or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I can go to the bus and I can make breakfast exactly the way I want with the same elements in it, but it's way cheaper, it's way better, and I made it, and I get to enjoy it. So
Do you cook for the band?
yeah, sometimes. There's been some times where we've had hotels where I've had a kitchen in my room, and on a day off, I invite everybody over, and I'll make something like like a bolognese or something like that, or I make tacos, and just one time on the bus, I made pasta from scratch. I even made the actual pasta
Oh,
on the
wow.
bus, and it took me like 4 hours, and so I don't think I'll do that again. It's this really small workspaces, and there's only one cooker, so it's really hard to do, especially for
What
multiple people.
was the bus traveling?
No, on that day it was a day off, so
Oh,
it was
oh,
sitting still. Yeah, yeah.
I can see it. If it was traveling, there could be even a few more little, like you hit a bump, something
Well,
like
yeah.
that.
Well, the whole thing about cooking when you're on the bus is that the bus is in constant motion, so you almost always have to have a hand on the pan. Or you have someone else say, "Hey, can you hold that pan for a second while I chop this?" And that's so we kind of do a little cooperating there, and the guys are really good. They all help wash up and all that kind of stuff. So it's great. And it makes me feel a little bit more at home on
Yeah,
the bus.
probably a little bit more human.
Yeah, yeah.
We're speaking with Kelly Hansen of Foreigner. They're going to be at the Linda Ronstadt Music Hall on April 3rd. Tickets still available. You can get them at klpx.com. Of course, we're doing this junior high school choir contest. We'll have more details at klpx.com. We've spoken about them just now. Kelly, I appreciate you taking your time today on this interview, and I'm looking forward to seeing the concert in April.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it as well. It should be really good fun. We're gonna really enjoy this whole farewell tour. And something I've been able to do in the last few years is just enjoy what we're doing more, because such a great band, such great songs, such great audiences. What is not to celebrate? So that's what we're doing.
And if anybody wants to follow along on the band's info, obviously you have social media accounts, etc. But what is the website for Foreigner?
Foreignerchoirs.com is for the choir competition but I believe that's specific to the Loverboy Live Nation starting on July 6th. But we have foreigneronline.com and Foreigner Live on Instagram, I believe. So they're all out there. You can find them.
All right, definitely. And we'll put some links on our website to it as well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.